Hi everybody, welcome back. This is part two of the Apocalypse of Abraham. I ended at the end of chapter 19 in the last video, so we'll begin here with chapter 20. So, the Eternal Mighty One said to me, Abraham, Abraham, and I said, Here I am. And he said, Look from high at the stars which are beneath you, and count them for me, and tell me their number. And I said, When can I? For I am a man. And he said to me, As a number of stars, and from the power so shall I place for your seed the nations and men, set apart for me in my lot with Azazel. And I said, Eternal and Mighty One, let your servant speak before you, and let your fury not rage against your chosen one. Behold, before you led me up, Azazel insulted me. How then, since he is not now before you, did you establish yourself with them? And he said to me, Look now beneath your feet at the firmament, and understand the creation that was depicted of old on this expanse, and the creatures which are in it, and the age prepared after it. And I looked beneath the firmament at my feet, and I saw the likeness of heaven, and the things that there are therein. And I saw there the earth in its fruit, and its moving things, and its things had souls, and its host of men, and the impiety of their souls, and their justification, and their pursuit of their works, and the abyss, and its torments, and its lower depths, and the perdition in it. And I saw there the sea, and its islands, and its cattle, and its fish, and Leviathan, and his realm, and his bed, and his lyres, and the world which lay upon him, and his motions, and the destruction he causes to the world. I saw there the rivers, and their upper reaches, and their circles. And I saw there the garden of Eden, and its fruits, and the source and river flowing from it, and the trees and their flowering, making fruits, and saw men doing justice in it, their food and their rest. And I saw there a great crowd of men and women and children, half of them on the right side of the portrayal, and half of them on the left side of the portrayal. And I said, Eternal, Mighty One, what is this picture of creation? And he said to me, This is my will with regard to what is in the light, and what is good before my face. And then afterward I gave them a command by my words, and they came into existence. Whatever I had decreed was to exist had already been outlined in this, and all the previously created things you have seen stood before me. And I said, O Sovereign, mighty and eternal, why are the people in this picture on this side and on that? And he said to me, These who are on the left side of the multitude of tribes who existed previously, and after you, some who have been prepared for judgment and order, others for revenge and perdition, at the end of the age. Those on the right side of the picture are the people set apart for me, of the people with Azazel. These are the ones who I have prepared to be born of you and to be called my people. Look again at the picture. Who is the one who seduced Eve, and what is the fruit of the tree? You will know what will be and how much will be for your seed in the last days. And what you cannot understand, I will make known to you, because you have been pleasing before my face, and I will tell you what I have kept in my heart. And I looked at the picture, and my eyes ran to the side of the Garden of Eden, and I saw there a man very great in height, and terrible in breadth, incomparable in aspect, entwined with a woman, who was also equal to the man in aspect and size. They were standing under the tree of Eden, and the fruit of the tree was like the appearance of a branch of grapes of the vine. And behind the tree was standing something like a dragon in form, but having hands and feet like a man. On his back 6 wings, and on his right and 6 on the left. He was holding the grapes of the tree and feeding them to the 2 I saw entwined with each other. And I said, Who are these 2 entwined with each other? Who is this between them? And what is the fruit which they are eating, mighty one, eternal? And he said, This is the world of men. This is Adam, and this is their thought on earth. This is Eve. And he who is between them is the impiety of their behaviour into perdition, Azazel himself. And I said, Eternal, mighty one, why then did you adjudge him such dominion that through his works he could ruin humankind on earth? And he said to me, Hear, Abraham, those who desire evil, and all who have hated as they committed them, over them did I give him dominion, and he was to be beloved of them. And I answered and said, Eternal mighty one, why did it please you to bring it about that evil should be desired in the heart of man? Because you are angered at what was chosen by you, him who does useless things in your light. And he said to me thus, Close to the nations, for your sake, and for the sake of those set apart after you, the people of your tribe, as you will see in the picture, what is burdened on them, and I will explain to you what will be, and everything that will be in the last days. Now look at everything in the picture. And I looked, and I saw the creatures that had come into being before me. And I saw, as it were, Adam and Eve, who was with them, and they were with the crafty adversary and Cain, who had been led by the adversary to break the law. And I saw the murdered, Abel, and the perdition brought on him, and given through the lawless one. And I saw their fornication, and those who desired it, and it was defilement, and their zeal, and the fire of corruption in the lower depths of the earth. And I saw their theft, and those who hasten after it, and the system of their retribution, the judgment of their great court. I saw their naked men, forehead to forehead, and their shame and their harm they wrought against their friends and their retribution. And I saw their desire, and in their hand was the head of every kind of lawlessness, and their torment and their dispersal destined to destruction. And I saw there the likeness of the idol of jealousy, like a carpenter's figure, such as the father used to make, and its body of glittering copper, and before it a man, and he was worshipping it. And there was an altar opposite, and boys being slaughtered on it, in the face of the idol. And I said to him, What is this idol, or what is the altar, or who are being sacrificed, or who is the sacrificer? Or what is the handsome temple which I see, the art and the beauty of your glory that lies beneath your throne? And he said, Hear, Abraham, the temple which you have seen, the altar and the works of art, this is my idea of the priesthood, the name of glory, where every petition of man will enter and dwell, the ascent of kings and prophets, and whatever sacrifice I decree to be made for me among my coming people, even of your tribe. And the body you saw is my anger, because the people who will come to me out of you will make me angry. And the man you saw slaughtering as he who angers me, and the sacrifice is a killing of those who are for me a testimony of the judgment, of the completion at the beginning of the creation. And I said, Eternal, mighty one, why did you establish it to be so, and to call on the testimonies of this one? And he said to me, Hear, Abraham, and understand what I will explain to you, and answer whatever I ask you. Why did your father Terah not obey the voice and abandon the demonic worship of idols until he perished, and all his house with him? And I said, Eternal mighty one, surely because it did not please him to obey me, nor did I follow his works. And he said to me, Hear, Abraham, as the counsel of your father is in him, as your counsel is in you, so also of my counsel, of my will, is ready. In days to come you will not know them in advance, nor future men will you see with your own eyes that they are of your seed. Look at the picture. And I looked, and I saw, and behold, the picture swayed, and from its left side a crowd of heathens ran out. They captured the men, women, and children who were on its right side, and some they slaughtered, and others they kept with them. Behold, I saw them running to them by way of 4 ascents, and they burned the temple with fire, and they plundered the holy things that were in it. And I said, Eternal One, people you receive from me are being robbed by the hordes of the heathen. They are killing some and holding others as aliens. And they burned the temple with fire, and they stealing and destroying the beautiful things which are in it. Eternal, mighty one, if this is so, why now have you afflicted my heart, and why will it be so? And he said to me, Listen, Abraham, all the things that you have seen will happen on account of your seed, who will continually provoke me because of the body which you saw, and the murderer in which was depicted in the temple of jealousy. And everything you saw will be so. And I said, Eternal, mighty one, let the evil works done in iniquity now pass by, but make commandments in them more than just his works, for you can do this. And he said to me, Again, the time of justice will come upon them. At first, though the holiness of kings, and I will judge justice, those who I created earlier, to rule from them in them. And from these same ones will come men who have regard for them. And I've announced you, and you saw. And I answered and said, Mighty, eternal one, you who are sanctified by your power, be merciful in my petition, since for this you informed me and showed me. Since you have brought me up to your height, therefore inform me, your beloved, whatever I ask, and what I saw before their lot for long. Will what I saw be their lot for long? And he showed me a multitude of his people. And he said to me, For this reason it is through the four ascents you say that my anger will be because of them, and in them will be the retribution of their works. And in the fourth ascent is 100 years, and 1 hour of the age will also be 100 years in evil among the heathen, and in an hour in their mercy, even with reproaches as among the heathen. And I said, Eternal, mighty one, how long at time is an hour of the age? And he said, I decreed to keep 12 periods of the impious age among the heathens among your seed, and what you have seen will be until the end of time. Count it up, and you will understand. Look down at the picture. And I looked, and saw a man going forth from the left, the heathen side. From the side of the heathen went out men and women and children, a great crowd, and they worshipped him. And while I was still looking, those on the right side came out. And some insulted this man, some struck him, others worshipped him. And I saw how they worshipped him. Azazel ran and worshipped, and kissing his face. He turned and stood behind him. And I said, Eternal, mighty one, who is this man, insulted and beaten by the heathen, with Azazel worshipped? And he answered and said, Here, Abraham, the man who you say insulted and beaten again worshipped, is the liberation from the heathen for the people who will be born from you. In the last days, in the 12th period of the age of my fulfillment, I will set up man from your tribe, the one whom you have seen from my people. All will imitate him. You consider him as one called by me. They are changed in their counsels, and those you saw coming from the left side of this picture and worshipping him, this means that many of the heathen will trust in him. And those of your seed you saw on the right side, some insulting him, some beating him, and others worshipping him. Many of them shall be offended because of him. It is he who will test those of your seed, who have worshipped him in the fulfillment of the 12th hour, in the curtailing of the age of impiety. Before the age of justice starts to grow, my judgment will come upon the heathen who have acted wickedly through the people of your seed, who have been set apart for me. In those days I will bring upon all earthly creation 10 plagues through evil and disease, through the groaning of the bitterness of their souls. Such will I bring upon the generations of those who are on it, out of the anger and corruption of their creations, in which they provoke me. And then from your seed will be left the righteous men, in their number, protected by me, who strive in glory of my name toward the place prepared beforehand for them, which you saw deserted in the picture. And they will live, being affirmed by the sacrifices of the gifts of justice and truth in the age of justice. and they will rejoice forever in me, and they will destroy those who have destroyed them, and they will rebuke those who have rebuked them through their mockery, and they will spit in their faces. Those rebuked by me, when they are to see me rejoicing with my people, for those who rejoice and receive truly return to me. See, Abraham, what you have seen, hear what you have heard, know what you have known. Go to your inheritance, and behold, I am with you forever. And while he was speaking, I found myself on the earth, and I said, Eternal, mighty one, I am no longer in the glory which I was above, and all that my soul desired to understand in my heart, I do not understand. And he said to me, I will explain to you the things you desire in your heart. For you have sought to know the 10 plagues which I prepared against the heathen. And I prepared them beforehand in the passing of the 12 hours of the earth. Hear what I tell you, it will be thus. The first, sorrow from much need. The second, fiery conflagrations for the cities. Third, destruction by pestilence among the cattle. Fourth, famine of the world, of the generation. Fifth, among the rulers of destruction by earthquake and the sword. The sixth, increase of hail and snow. The seventh, wild beasts will be their grave. The eighth, pestilence and hunger will change their destruction. The ninth, execution by the sword and flight in distress. And the 10th, thunder, voices, and destroying earthquakes. And then will I sound my trumpet out of the air, and I will send my chosen one, having in him one measure of all my power, and he will summon my people, humiliated by the heathen. And I will burn with fire those who mocked them and ruled over them in this age, and I will deliver those who have covered me with mockery over to the scorn of the coming age, because I have prepared them to be food for the fire of Hades, and to be ceaseless soaring in the air of the underworld regions of the uttermost depths, to be contents of a wormy belly. For the makers will see them. For the makers will see in them justice, the makers who have chosen my desire and manifestly kept my commandments. And they will rejoice with merrymaking over the downfall of the men who remain, who followed after the idols, after their murderers. For they shall putrefy in the belly of the crafty worm, Azazel, and be burned by the fire of Azazel's tongue. For I waited so they might come to me, and they did not deign to. And they glorified an alien god, and they joined one whom they had not been allotted. They abandoned the Lord who gave them strength. Therefore hear, Abraham, and see, behold, your 7th generation shall go with you, and they will go into an alien land, and they will enslave them and oppress them, as for 1 hour in the impious age. But for the nation who they serve, I am the judge. And the Lord said too, Have you heard, Abraham, what I have told you, what your tribe will encounter in the last days? Abraham, having heard, accepted the words of God in his heart. Amen. So that's the apocalypse of Abraham, and I'll really find that one interesting. But regarding the list of scriptures that I was going to be reading, I've done one already. I put the names of all the people down on the particular scriptures I'm going to be reading to try and get dates and that. And Abraham is like one of the oldest scriptures according to date, and apparently he was born 1813 BC, died 1638 BC. I think it made him about 175 years old. But according to the dates that I know, the flood was around 1600 AM, which is like after Adam, which would have made Abraham like 200 or 300 years after the flood he was born, roughly. But yeah, they're a list. I don't know if you can see them names, but they're a list of the people. Adam at the top, and then obviously ones with Christ at the bottom, and everyone in between. I tried to put them in a timeline, although I won't read them in that order. The scriptures that I want to read, they are the people that they're about, that they've come from. So yeah, that was Apocalypse of Abraham. There was bits in there that kind of mentioned how those that are judged at the end of this age will be mocked in the next age, and they're food for the fire of Hades. Yeah, so and I will burn the fire of those who mocked them and ruled over them in this age, and I will deliver those who have covered me with mockery over to the scorn of the coming age. So, being at the coming age, people are going to live a lot longer. It's best to get right with God now. But yeah, that's the rest of that book anyway, and I'll try and get my next one done soon. Thanks for watching. God bless.